This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And as always, thank you so much for supporting the program. Coming up here on the show, it's time to keep it 100 on the Niners. So let's dive right in. I'm telling you this right now, and I believe it. The Niners are a threat to win the NFC. Let me say that again. The Niners are a threat to win the NFC. Why not San Francisco? Look, this conference, and really the AFC as well, is wide open. And I think on both sides of the bracket, NFC, AFC, this year in 2025, it's as wide open as it's been in a long time because there isn't a great team in the National Football League right now, which is kind of crazy because December is officially underway and we're about to embark on Week 14. Injuries be damned. The Niners are punching above their weight. And it's really impressive what they've been able to do with how mentally tough they've been, how physically the healthy players have been, how resilient this team has been. A lot of teams, when they would lose Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, would give up. A lot of teams would surrender when the front office doesn't make a move, which I thought was needed going into the deadline for a pass rusher. But this is a credit to the Niners culture, which Kyle Shanahan has been able to build, in which the players keep in place. This is something that I noticed when I was around the team in the lead up to that Super Bowl. And every player who I asked told me it starts with Kyle Shanahan. He obviously wants players who love football, but he lets players be themselves, but he also has players policing the locker room. And while I also think this Niners team can contend in the NFC, this coaching staff is one of the best in the NFL. And when you get into the playoffs in a do-or-die game, coaching really matters. I know that Kyle Shanahan has come up short in some big games throughout his coaching career. He's also won a lot of huge playoff games. And when you look at Robert Saleh running the defense, Kyle Shanahan running the offense, Brant Boyer leading an improved special teams unit, you'll take that coaching staff going up against a lot of other coaching staffs across the league. And the Niners have been able to win 9 games up until this point of the season because on game day or game night, I think their coaching staff has been able to win in these chess matches with other staffs across the league as far as their opponents go. This is also big here. This offense for the Niners is starting to heat up at the right time, and the defense is improving. San Francisco's defense has given up 17 points in the last 2 games. You could say, yeah, it's against Carolina and Cleveland. The NFL is hard. A majority of these games are decided by 1 score or less, and the Niners are winning these games in impressive fashion. There's also this too. While the Niners went through a youth movement this offseason and got rid of a lot of high-priced players or let go of a lot of high-priced players, there's still a lot of players on this roster who are battle-tested and calloused when it comes to the postseason, in addition to this coaching staff. And in a do-or-die spot, I trust the Niners in these big games because I've seen it and we've seen it with our eyes, then be able to win some marquee games with a lot of members that are a part of this crew and this core. Let's get to this too. The last 3 games for the 49ers on the schedule are going to be huge. And as a Niner fan, you have to be pumped up because of the magnitude of these games, right? Niners have a bye week in Week 14. They come out of it to play the Tennessee Titans. They've had the easiest schedule in the NFL, or at least had the easiest schedule going into the season. But these last 3 games, they're not going to be cupcake ball games. You're on the road against the Colts on Monday Night Football. The Colts struggling a little bit of late. Daniel Jones has a broken bone in his fibula, but they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. That game is on the road, and that Colts fan base is going to show up and show out, and that's a playoff level team right there. Week 17, you come back home to Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, the site of Super Bowl 60, and you host the now number 1 seeded Chicago Bears on Sunday Night Football. They're running the ball like crazy. Ben Johnson's offense is exotic, creative, explosive, fun. Caleb Williams playing well. They have an opportunistic defense that has forced a league-high 26 turnovers. That game could decide a playoff spot for the Bears and Niners as well. And then week 18 against the Seahawks. Shoot, this could be for the number 1 seed. This could be for the NFC West. This could be for all the marbles right here. And the Seahawks I look at as a Super Bowl contender. But you also have that storyline of Sam Darnold maybe fumbling a big game. But that defense is good. The coaching staff is legit. The Niners won in week 1. Seahawks will be looking for revenge. This offense needed to carry this team because this defense, beaten, battered, injured, worn down, young. And because this defense, for the most part, is young, has a lot of new faces, and some of these younger players are starting to play a little bit more, we knew with this defense there were going to be some growing pains. And so this veteran-laden offense, which didn't undergo a lot of turnover this offseason, was going to have to shoulder the load after that Rams loss, where the Niners kind of got exposed, in order for this team to play their best football, to be the most dangerous ball club that they can be, and in order to make it into the postseason and be considered a threat. Well, since that Rams loss, Niners have won 3 games in a row. What have we seen? San Francisco goes on the road. They drop 41 points against the Cardinals. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns in that game. Christian McCaffrey had a hat trick. George Kittle had a couple of touchdowns. Against Carolina, don't be a casual and say, Chase, they only scored 20 points. They survived 3 Brock Purdy turnovers. The defense also played well, a complimentary ball game, and the Niners offense was still able to play pretty well in that game. And you had Christian McCaffrey going off for more than 100 all-purpose yards. George Kittle had a really nice game. He had 78 yards on 6 catches. He made some big plays. Brock Purdy played safer in that second half. And when you can win by 11 and cover as a touchdown favorite, despite 3 first-half turnovers, the offense survived despite those giveaways. Then you go on the road against one of the top, highest-ranked defenses in the NFL. You only give up 1 sack to Myles Garrett. You are very opportunistic in the red zone, and as a team, you get contributions, offense, defense, special teams, but the offense took advantage of their opportunities. They made big plays when they needed to. They executed when they had to. And with the wind howling and swirling, with it being cold against a really good defense, you still dropped 26 points. Brock Purdy accounted for 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall making plays through the air. And I look at that as an impressive offensive performance, considering Purdy in bad weather has been bad. In bad weather against Cleveland in 2023 in Cleveland, he wasn't good. Kyle Shanahan was 1-8 against Jim Schwartz. Kyle Shanahan's offense has struggled against Jim Schwartz-led defenses. He won that battle in Week 13, and it was one that he needed to have because the Niners couldn't afford to lose that game going into the bye week. And you look at some of the key offensive numbers here, and especially of late since the Rams game analytically, the Niners have been one of the best offenses in the NFL as far as success rate and EPA per play. Well, all year long, this offense cumulatively has been pretty solid. 7th in total yards, 12th in yards per game, 9th in total touchdowns, number 1 in first downs, 5th in completion rate, 2nd in passing yards, 11th in yards per attempt, 29th in picks. It's not been great there. Got to clean that up. 24th in rushing yards. That's been a problem. 31st in yards per carry. If the run game can be better, look out. 3rd down percentage, though, Niners are 3rd. 4th down rate, they're 12th. And in the red zone, middle of the pack. But it's better than they were last year when they were not good. More to get to here on the show, but first, I want to know where the Niner gang is watching from. Where are you right now, and where are you watching the show from currently? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Let's get to our sponsor, our friends at Brunt. Don't let me being in front of the camera on a microphone fool you. I'm not wearing this flannel to try to fake it as somebody who loves long days, hard labor, and tough jobs. I actually love woodworking on the side. My favorite job growing up, working maintenance at a golf course where I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I would cut greens, fairways, approaches, and tee boxes. My favorite job growing up. Then I was in some uncomfortable work boots. I wish I had Brunt work boots then. So let me tell you about why I love Brunt when I do my woodworking and my hard labor now, even go on some hikes in my Brunt work boots. and you can get a great deal. I'll tell you about that in a second. Look, choosing work boots used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. And if they lasted, they wrecked your feet. Brunt thought that was BS, so they built tough boots that feel great from day one. No break-in, no sore feet, because people out there doing the real work shouldn't have to choose between comfort or durability. And I know there are a lot of blue-collar people who watch this show. Well, founder Eric Girard grew up blue-collar. He started Brunt Workwear after his friends in the trades kept telling him that the big brands had stopped listening and they hadn't changed in 100 years. They had sold out to become fashion brands. These are no doubt the most comfortable work boots I've ever worn, and they felt comfortable right out of the box. No long, painful break-in like all those other brands. They're comfortable, but they're also built to perform and last. So these are the Marin work boots that I have here. With temperatures dropping, the holidays coming up, it's time to treat yourself or the hardworking man in your life to real comfort. Skip the throwaway gifts. Get him or yourself something built to last. Brunt Workwear. They have other products outside of boots as well. Our listeners, our viewers, get $10 off their entire order when you use the code CHAT at bruntworkwear.com/chat. Use that code CHAT using that link. Order today and let them know you heard about them right here on this show. How about this as we keep it 100 on the Niners? San Francisco's special teams unit has improved. This has been a glaring problem under Kyle Shanahan for years. But this offseason, he moves off of Brian Schneider for Brant Boyer, who is really well respected and beloved inside NFL circles. And to start the year, there were some issues with this Niners special teams unit. But since that Jacksonville game, when they were awful, that included the 87-yard punt return for a touchdown to the Penn Stater, Parker Washington, the Niners special teams unit has been pretty damn good. How about the trade for Sky Moore, swapping 6th and 7th round picks with Kansas City because the Niners were so thin at the wide receiver spot? But this was a move that I applauded then because of the special teams ability for Sky Moore. He's legitimately been one of the best returners in the NFL. He had the 98-yard kickoff return to start the game against Arizona 3 games ago. And then against Cleveland, he has the 66-yard punt return, which both set up scores for San Francisco at some important points of the ball game where the Niners were able to establish momentum. And so that was a good move by John Lynch and this Niners team. Coverage-wise, the Niners have been pretty good. We'll get to that here in a moment. They owned up to the fact that Jake Moody was not it, that they had to move on, that they had to stop justifying using a 3rd-round pick as a reason for them keeping Jake Moody, and they signed Eddie Pinheiro. He went 22 of 22 before his injury. 4 of 4 on 20 to 29 kicks. 4 of 4 on kicks of 30 to 39. 8 of 8, 40 to 49 yards. 6 of 6, 50 plus. They add Matt Gay. And yeah, it was a little bit risky before the half when he doinked that short field goal off the left upright, but he's been perfect in his first 2 games with the Niners. And the Niners special teams rankings, I had talked about this before the year because I expected the defense to improve under Robert Saleh, because I expected the offense to improve following a down year for Kyle Shanahan. All this special teams unit needs to do is hover around the middle of the pack in the NFL. What they can't afford to do is be one of the worst units in the NFL because that can really hurt you. That's been the case the last couple of years. And these numbers are weighted a little bit because of the Niners' slow start to the year. But still, even with that slow start to the year on special teams, Niners are 14th in total EPA, 14th in EPA per special teams play. That's going to cut it right there when you're also getting contributions from your kicker and your return guy. Lastly, John Lynch deserves a lot of credit. The Niners haven't hit on a first-round pick since Brandon Ayuk, and they have missed and whiffed on a lot of marquee players in the NFL draft, but John Lynch made a few moves that have paid off this season, and all of them have kind of been bargain basement moves, which have really helped the Niners in a big way. The trade for Brian Robinson, he's ended up being a really good number 2 back behind Christian McCaffrey. Shoot, I'd like to see him a little bit more. Sky Moore has been one of the top returners in the NFL as a kick returner and punt returner. Cleveland Ferrell has been playing really well in 4 games with San Francisco. And Keon White has given this team some juice and physicality and production from defensive end and as an interior rusher. Look at what Clelin Ferrell has done in 4 games with the Niners. I love this move at the time because he's played his best football with the Niners. He's been a bust everywhere else, but under Chris Kocurek, given his size and skill set, he works in this scheme. In 4 games, 4 sacks, 11 pressures, 15 total tackles, 4 TFLs, 5 stops. I don't know why he was a healthy scratch against Arizona, but in the other 4 games that he's played, Ferrell has been really good. Keon White against the Browns, the second highest pressure rate of his career, 26.8%. He tallied 4 pressures and a sack. And look at how the Niners used him. Defensive end, defensive tackle, left side, right side. He's ended up being a weapon, and you're seeing why he was taken in the second round by the Patriots out of Georgia Tech. And some of these Niners rookies are making some strides. It's a little bit frustrating that we're not seeing Jordan Watkins, Jordan James pretty much having a redshirt year. Connor Colby looked rough. Marquis Siegel started the year as a starter. He's now been a healthy scratch. But yesterday, Kevin Givens was a healthy scratch. Why? The Niners really like how C.J. West and Alfred Collins are playing. How about what George Kittle said about Alfred Collins? That he's amazed by what Collins is able to do, that he's a fantastic football player. They popped against Cleveland. They've been improving. You're seeing improvements from a guy like Upton Stout, who's making plays as a run defender and in coverage, sometimes as a blitzer. And a sign of good coaching, getting good players on track. Like the Niners have been able to do seemingly with a guy like Jair Brown, Renardo Green, Diamador Lenore, playing pretty well in that secondary for San Francisco. So John Lynch does deserve credit for that. Don't forget to give me a follow on X, Instagram, and TikTok. Just launched that TikTok page on all 3 of those platforms at Chase_Senior. Just a way for you to stay in the loop. Follow me on my personal platforms and get some more Niners content.